I'm very happy to be joined today by Star Tribune columnist Velle Neal III. Velle, how are you?
I'm doing swell. Glad to be here.
Glad to be here too. And I got some feedback last week from a listener, Velle, who said our weekly daily delivery debate needs more contentiousness. We need to argue a little bit more. We need to debate a little bit more. We agree a little too much. I'm just saying I'm not going to create artificial debate. If we agree, we agree. I give you we settle on 3 topics every week. But I did take his advice, so we'll see how feisty we are today.
Who is this? Your son?
No. No, it was a listener. It's a listener. One of the thousands of daily delivery listeners. One of them took the time to email me about our segment and said, "You know what? I listened to today's segment. You guys kind of disagreed about this one thing. You mostly just talked about this other thing. You need to disagree more if you're going to call it a debate. Otherwise, it's just a discussion." So I was like, okay, that's fair. I think his name was Don. That's fair. So anyway, with that in mind, I'm not going to. Like I said, we're not going to create
some. Argue if Don is right or not.
Debate topic number 1. Yeah. Do we debate enough for Don? Is Don right or wrong? That'd be funny. We'd have to take diametrically opposing sides, or if we didn't, then he'd be wrong. That would be a very twisted loop. It'd be like right into the metaverse. But let's try this today. Topic number 1. Nobody has taken the time to decide not to weigh in on the Luka Doncic for Anthony Davis trade that went down on Saturday night. Everybody's got an opinion about it. What I want to say, or what I want to ask you and talk about and debate and discuss, one of those two, is it really as lopsided or bad for Dallas as the kind of loudest narrative would have us believe?
Well, I mean, you got to look at it from Dallas's standpoint. They're still in win now mode, and Anthony Davis still gives them a chance to win now. Even though he's 32, he compared with Kyrie or Irving. It's more of a veteran team, more of a post presence, more of a defensive presence, rebounding presence. So, I mean, it doesn't detract from the team that much. It's just that when you trade someone who's 25, 26 years old, who's one of the best scorers in the league, who is a triple-double threat, you expect to see like multiple number 1 draft picks as part of the package. This is the Wolves' fault. The Wolves did this because they sent 4 picks to Utah for Rudy Gobert. So everybody's thinking that whenever you have a trade for a young superstar, that you have to have a boatload of picks in return. I will point out that Max Christie came along in the trade, so it's kind of like getting a number 1 pick and a guy with a little bit of experience. I think Dallas probably could have gotten more for Luka if they shopped him around. It's pretty obvious that they were sick of his crap and wanted to get rid of him. And so they were motivated sellers. If you're a buyer, you want to take advantage of a motivated seller. That was what Dallas was at this moment. So, it looks bad. I think they could have gotten more for Luka. But given their situation, given that they were motivated to move him, they got what they could.
Here's what I think. I don't necessarily disagree with that assessment. 2 things though that bother me. 1, I think that draft picks aren't as valuable as they used to be because the college game, the internet, whatever the amateur game used to be, isn't what it once was. Yeah, draft picks are nice if you're picking in the top 5, but if you're trading Luka to somebody, you're probably not going to be getting top 5 picks down the road because Luka's going to make your team good enough that you're not going to be a perennial lottery team. So whoever they're going to trade them to, I actually like the outcome of getting a really good player. Dallas didn't want to go into rebuild mode. They weren't looking for draft picks. They were looking for, like you said, the win now kind of player. But what especially bothers me is that we get swept up in the narrative. We get the instant judgment, and it happens quick on social media. It happens quick on, talk radio, podcasts, ESPN, all the talking heads. And there's a consensus that gets reached quickly. And if you don't go along with the consensus, you are somehow crazy. You aren't allowed to have a contrarian opinion. I'm not saying I necessarily have a massive contrarian opinion on this trade, but I do think we stop evaluating it on its face and then just go along with it and say, what was Dallas thinking? They were idiots, instead of actually looking at it and saying, okay, here is actually what they were trying to accomplish. So I don't think it's as bad as people are making it out to be, even if I do agree that it's a curious deal from some standpoints.
I think they could have done better. I can hear what you're saying about draft picks, but you always want to swing at the pinata because you know if a Damian Lillard may fall out of it, and plus it's hard. It's hard to. It's not easy to I still think rank and evaluate the international class every year, and you have a chance of landing an international stud, maybe 10, 11, 12 pick. I just think if the Mavericks could have played out this season, dealt with Luka the best they could have, and looked to move him during the offseason when they could have built a group of suitors where they could have maximized the return. They did not maximize the return, but we'll see how it works out.
Yeah, that's true. They probably could have gotten more at some point. They must have really liked Anthony Davis and looked at it and said, I
didn't realize he was 32.
He's 30. He's about to be 32. But yes, I think he's not young anymore. And you do have to worry about, guy about to enter his peak versus guy who is maybe just at the end of his peak. You want to get the best player, and if you're not going to get the best player, you want to get the upside. And they probably didn't get either one of those things, but they probably got a window that's open for 3 years here right now, I think, with him and Kyrie and some of the other pieces they have.
It will be a little more palatable if Christie becomes a player too, which he has a chance to.
Yeah, that's true. We'll see. The biggest thing that bothers me is that the narrative, we get carried away in the narrative and we stop evaluating the actual thing. And that was the point I wanted to make.